Hello, good morning and welcome to Sports Central, Lebanon exclusive to Spectrum Television, returning on the heels of what we're looking forward to club football, of course, returning after 1 week of international break where we had the FIFA World Cup qualifiers on the continent of Africa coming to the end. Well, today is also the start of the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, and the Flamingos of Nigeria will be in, of course, a match much later this weekend. We'll also look at what's trending in the world of football as we're looking forward to club football returning starting off today, especially in France and other climes. We'll also look at the world of tennis with some top-level competition still up and running. So looking forward to WTA and the ATP finals. Some players are actually racking up the numbers and setting themselves in good momentum ahead of the ATP and WTA finals. We'll talk about all of these stories extensively on the show. Before we do that, we would first of all bring you up to speed with some big developments making rounds in the exciting world of sports. Welcome to Sports Central, and I am Mutabe David. Well, the conversation starts from the world of tennis, where Daniil Medvedev gained revenge against Adam Walton on Thursday at the Almaty Open, where he overcame the Australian 7-5, 7-6 to reach the quarterfinals at the ATP 250. Medvedev lost to the Australian in Cincinnati in August, but ensured history would not repeat itself in Kazakhstan. The second seed trailed 1-4 in the second set and fended off 4 break points in the sixth game of the second set to avoid trailing 1-5. After holding, Medvedev went on the charge. He upped his depth in the baseline exchanges and struck 12 winners in the second set to advance after 1 hour and 45 minutes. Medvedev reached the semi-finals in Shanghai and Beijing and has won 8 of his past 10 matches. He will next play Fabian Marozsan. The 29-year-old, chasing his first title since 2023, is up 1 spot to 14th in the ATP Live Range to Turin and could still qualify for the ATP Finals for the 7th consecutive year. He trails 8th place Lorenzo Musetti by 1,025 points. The Italian is in the final qualification spots. Away from that, as Elena Rybakina fights to stay in contention for the WTA Finals berth, every win counts regardless of how it comes. And on Thursday in Nikbo, she was forced to battle, suffering through a grueling 2-hour and 48 minutes contest to defeat Diana Yastremska 4-6, 6-7, 6-3. Despite the physical toll and humid conditions, Rybakina was able to muster just enough strength to close out the match with her 10th ace. The victory sent her to the Nikbo quarterfinals for the first time, where she'll face an in-form Alja Tomljanovic for a spot in the semi-finals. There, Rybakina will meet Tomljanovic in their third career matchup. She leads the head-to-head 2 wins and no losses, with their last meeting coming at Wimbledon in 2022. In that quarterfinal match, Rybakina rallied from a set down on her way to her first Grand Slam title. This will be their first meeting played on a hard court. Now to the world of basketball, where Pistons guard Jaden Ivey's long-awaited return hits a snag as he will miss the next 4 weeks following right knee surgery, the team announced yesterday. Ivey missed the last 49 games last season after a left fibula injury and played 1 preseason game before issues of discomfort arose. Pistons coach J.B. Bickerstaff said it wasn't a particular play that birthed the injury. Even the 5th pick in the 2022 draft was in the midst of a breakout season last year before colliding with Magic guard Cole Anthony on New Year's Day. He was averaging 17.6 points and shooting 41% from 3-point range, both career highs. The Pistons acquired veteran guard Dennis Schroeder to play backup point guard in the wake of Evie's injury last season. Bickerstaff believes guard Marcus Sazar and two-way guard Dennis Jenkins can fill in the blanks during this absence. Third-year forward Oscar Thompson has been given more responsibility in training camp to be a primary facilitator when the All-NBA guard Kat Cunningham goes to the bench. As for Evie, it could be 10 months before he sees regular season action again, and is up for a rookie-scale extension should the team and he agree on a contract before October 20 deadline. Away from that, it was a gold rush for Team Nigeria on Thursday at the Anaconga Zone 3 games in Burkina Faso. After a dominant performance in both weightlifting and badminton, saw Nigeria winning a total of 12 medals, 1 silver and 1 bronze medal to round off its campaign at the regional competition. In weightlifting, it was a case of gold medal spree for 3 Nigerian athletes that represented the country. It all began with Emmanuel Inakado, who is the current African champion at the 71 kg. In the 79 kg category, Ibrahim Rabiu, who also doubles as the team's coach, also won the entire 3 gold medals available in both the snatch, jerk, and total events. In the 110 kg, Adeyemi Vincent, who is also an African champion, completed the hat-trick gold medal performance for Team Nigeria with his own 3 gold medals in the 3 categories of snatch, clean and jerk, and total events. In badminton, Team Nigeria continued from where it left off by adding 3 more gold medals, 1 silver and 1 bronze, to the 2 gold medals it won on Tuesday in the men's and women's double events. Away from that now to the world of football, where Manchester United overcame the first half dismissal of defender Dominic Jensen to close out a 1-0 win over Atletico Madrid and maintain their perfect start to the new Women's Champions League campaign. Sweden forward Fridolina Flofo fired in a close-range volley to give the visitors a 24th minute lead. Netherlands centre-back Jensen was then shown a red card before the break following a VAR review into her sliding challenge on Gio Gabellini, who was taken off on a stretcher. Atletico also finished the match with 10 players after defender Alieza Fernandez collected a second yellow card with 15 minutes left. That's all we have for Sports Wrap Up at this time. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll have an extensive conversation on all of these sports stories and much more. Do stay with us.
Broadening your horizon is what every living being not only genuinely desires, but heartily pursues and intentionally invests in. For in the gathering of men, only those whose minds are in tune with the dynamics of the past, present, and future innovations, inventions, politics, and governance are respected. We are Spectrum Television, and broadening your horizon is our obsession. Risk on your decoder now to connect Spectrum Television on the frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. That is frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. Polarization horizontal, and join our online community at spectrumtvlive.ng. For further enquiries, please call 0704 158 5642 or 0704 541 7707. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon. Broadening your horizon is what every living being not only genuinely desires, but heartily pursues and intentionally invests in. For in the gathering of men, only those whose minds are in tune with the dynamics of the past, present, and future innovations, inventions, politics, and governance are respected. We are Spectrum Television, and broadening your horizon is our obsession. Risk on your decoder now to connect Spectrum Television on the frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. That is frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. Polarization horizontal, and join our online community at spectrumtvlive.ng. For further enquiries, please call 0704 158 5642 or 0704 541 7707. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon. Broadening your horizon is what every living being not only genuinely desires, but heartily pursues and intentionally invests in. For in the gathering of men, only those whose minds are in tune with the dynamics of the past, present, and future innovations, inventions, politics, and governance are respected. We are Spectrum Television, and broadening your horizon is our obsession. Risk on your decoder now to connect Spectrum Television on the frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. That is frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. Polarization horizontal, and join our online community at spectrumtvlive.ng. For further enquiries, please call 0704 158 5642 or 0704 541 7707. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon. Broadening your horizon is what every living being not only genuinely desires, but heartily pursues and intentionally invests in. For in the gathering of men, only the
Hello, good morning, and welcome to this exciting moment. We talk about the best of stories in the world of sports and the Sports Central. My name is Bladen Mukimutu David, also being part of the mix today on Funny Tina. Action. Maybe it's after 10 is looking at the Multi Open and similar the Nimbo Open and the BNB Paribas Open and the world of football, as you heard during the sports wrap up, which we gave the updates. I'm talking about the under 17 World Cup taking center stage. It will be all a conversation, and every conversation that adds up in the world of football. Well, to David, good morning. So good to see you today.
An excellent morning to return. Yes, at the point, so we're talking about the first game of the Under-17 Women's World Cup. Promises to be very exciting. And there are conversations about the Flamingo side and how we should, of course, look at them at the moment, owing to the fact that Junior work from here, and I'm excited to return.
A long walk from here to David, excited to return. We're going to talk about everything now, and let's start, shall we? Starting from the world bench in this keeping hopes alive for a touring competition. And well, got the better of his opponent Adam Walton, where he overcame the Australian, talking about a victory to reach a tour level event. Remember, Danny Medvedev had been beaten by the Australian at Cincinnati Open in August.
Yeah.
But a smooth revenge, I would say, in this one. But the consequence of all of this is the very fact that he's looking at touring competition. It's a 200 tour level event, so if he gets to win it, adds another 250 tour points for number to the year-end event.
In recent times is the fact that he's actually been more engaged in 500 tour level event, 250 tour level event.
Well, big apologies for that technical break, but we're still back, and it is if you never left it. Today was still giving perspective regarding Danny Medvedev, especially talking about the fact that he's living the big event, the Masters 1000 events, and dwelling at the 250 tour level and 500 tour level events.
Well, it's rather unfortunate that, you know, despite being so intentional about playing all of these, you know, maybe I would call it a small event. He's still not been able to, you know, gather up titles. As a matter of fact, yes, you could also look at his stats. He's been able to win, of course, 8 matches out of his last 10 matches, as a matter of fact. But that hasn't also, you know, culminated into titles. We're talking about Daniil Medvedev, who's last won a title in 2023. So that shows you he's a long way off for Daniil at the moment. But I think it's quite good that his intentions is just about, you know, qualifying for the ATP, which could also be a moral boost if he goes right there and, of course, rack up some wins against top-seeded players at the finals. But I think at off, yes, still the early stages of this particular tournament. But I think it's a good win for his confidence.
Well, good win. Looking at the ATP table and trying to figure out where Danny Medvedev is, it's far off at the moment. And because you're talking about a position of the top 10 in the world now, Jack Draper at number 9, Karen Khachanov number 10. So quite Danny Medvedev at number 4 ranking by 4 points, and so his stocks has really fallen in recent. Really hoping that he could add up the number. I can't pick him into the top 8 that he gets to qualify. What a ranking point for Jack Draper. When we talk about a turn player and all of that, not so much. So if he gets to win this one, it just push him up the ranking level a bit, is that conversation. Well, quickly, let's talk about other athletes or tennis player. Still at the Amalfi Open, it has to do with the man called Struff, who defeated the top-seeded player, Kachanov, Jan-Lennard Struff. Jan-Lennard Struff sending top seed and defending champion Karen Kachanov even further at the Amalfi Open. His 35-year-old German started the number of 4-6-7-6, 6-3 victory against world number 10, thanks to a power saving, and that comes with his performance.
Well, I think when you talk about Jan-Lennard Struff, about experience, he's also guards at the moment, and the very fact that he's been able to get the better of the defending champion, that's a very big win for the man. So when you get the better of a defending champions, it signals some level of momentum that will be injected in you. Talking about the last time tournament where a certain unseeded player got the better of Novak Djokovic and go all the way to win the title against his cousin. So I think that could also be a clear case this particular competition moment, and I'm looking forward to see what exactly happens. Experience could also count for him, but then I'm also not overruling the fact that there could also be upset, because at a point where you've gotten the better of a top 10 player, you could also see an unseeded player got the better of you even before you get to the quarters or even the semi-finals of a competition. But I think at the moment the man has gotten a lot more confidence at the fact that defending champions is out. So if you actually get a better of defending champion in the tournament, I mean, you can actually get the better of anyone in the tournament. So I'm looking forward to the opponent, what gets to happen, the quality we'll face going into the finals of this competition.
Well, talking about the finals of the competition, there's still a distance to talk about some players now, the likes of Daniel Medvedev in the quarterfinals of it, but are looking even further to try to get the numbers so right. But we made mention of a particular player. After beating Medvedev in the last competition we talked about, and going all the way to win it against his cousin. Could we have a similar case in this one, or it was something stark different in this one?
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about Jan-Lennard Struff, currently ranked 98 in the world, previously 21 in the world, the German international. He's been a little here, a little there. Every year we have flashes of him, maybe upsets that comes with him, but sustainability has been a problem. And now he's 35 years of age.
Well, not every player would actually, of course, be up there in the cadre, just like we've always mentioned. And I think at the moment, the man Jan-Lennard Struff is not an exception at the moment, because I look at the fact that one would also look at his level of progress at some point in the early stage of his career, showing that glimpse of brilliance, but consistency has actually been a case. And I think at the moment, many would also look at him as a very top player. Maybe, of course, a player who just, busts into the scene once in a while and, of course, create some massive offsets and then go into the scene without, getting to know the whereabouts of Jan-Lennard Struff. That's how I look at him at the moment. So I should not feel that
he comes in and disappears.
He comes in and disappears. So I wouldn't even call him a late bloomer, because at least if you talk about a late bloomer, I will see some flash of consistency.
He's never bloomed.
Yeah, he's never bloomed. So he's a clear case of a flash and then goes back, a flash and then goes back. So that's how I look at Jan-Lennard Struff at the moment.
Forgotten about him.
He just busts into the scene.
250 tall level,
absolutely.
Tall level, creates an upset and then boom. We're beginning to expect something from him and disappears. Well, it's that conversation. We move away from the Amalfi Open and we're going to talk about the BNP Paribas Open, getting further interesting as a top seed in this one. Horjeroen having to escape a jam to win at a Stockholm opener. Well, beating Martin Fucsovic 6-4, 6-4 in Stockholm. Well, to be some of the top players now, they have to struggle to get this victory against relatively unknown players, to the likes of Alex Mechelen and Shintara and Mochizuki, also advancing in the Thursday clash. The quarterfinal is the center spread for every angle we'll talk about on the tournament we're looking at. Horjeroen not being different.
Well, I think at the moment, Med is still looking forward to qualifying for the ATP finals, and I think that's why we're actually having bulk of this intensity and pressure, coming on some of the players who are actually below the top 8.
Some players you're expecting to have some rest.
Absolutely.
It's been a long season, battling the 250.
I mean, you can't have that rest. You can't have that rest when you've not, automatically qualify for the ATP finals, because the more you're resting, the more the players are doing well and trying to, qualify to the ATP finals. So I think for Horjeroen, it's the same case. It's not sealed qualification yet. One could also look at the likes of Daniel Medvedev, who's also battling it out. So another player. So I think at the moment, maybe the end of this particular top level competition, and if we have another one before the ATP finals, will actually count for some of these players who are slugging it out. So I think the pressure and the intensity comes even more than what we saw at the start of the season. And I think that's the moments they're actually waiting for, to actually know exactly whether or not they qualify. I think if they had actually qualified before now, maybe we should be talking about some of them resting. That's why they're not resting at the moment.
And that's why having the likes of Carlos
playing exhibition games, because they've already qualified. That's what it is.
I said, come on, we're not battling for those points.
Absolutely.
It's basically what it is. Still within the BNB Paribas Open, a 4-seed Harvard had to beat Berrettini, the Italian, in this one. Oja Aliassime, Felix Oja Aliassime also had to prevail in a 10-set tie break in Brussels, thriller. Well, at the Ningbo Open, it's also further interesting for some of the big superstars, because some big names are participating in this till the year-end battle.
Absolutely.
From a women's perspective, Elena Rybakina, it's into the Ningbo quarterfinals, also keeping WTA finals hopes alive. Jasmine Pauline, also another one that's battling for the year-end competition, also reaching the Ningbo quarterfinals, inching closer to WTA finals. Lila Fernandez also getting past we're talking about Koba Torishu Osaka semi-finals. I think at those Osaka semi-finals, we're not having people competing for the finals. We're just having those who's really not performed so well throughout the season, just battling it out. Maybe there's lots of money in the Asian swing in that direction, so they're shifting to that direction. In Formula One, it has to be Nori facing consequences for Piastri or collision. What's the state in Formula One for Nori in this one after that collision?
Well, I think it's quite a clear case of, the Formula One body, trying to look at the punishment that comes with, of course, some of these situations. And I think that's where Lando Norris is at the moment. And we're also getting reports that the punishment could actually come further. But I think another question beckons, was that collision an intentional collision, or was it a clear case of going through outside the track to have that collision? If you're going outside your track when you're racing, that means it will be quite consequential for you. So if Lando Norris given that punishment, then he has to serve it, and maybe also serve as deterrent to others who, of course, are looking forward to another Grand Prix in the world of Formula One.
Well, it's a story of Formula One, little here, little there. Always we get to see this happen now. A driver trying to collide and get maybe block the other driver at the end of it, cause collision. We'll see it happen time and time again in Formula One, but it comes with its own consequences. And I will go on a quick break, and when we're back here with football stories all around the world, we'll talk about what the preparation of Flamingos are moving to the Under-17 World Cup and the games taking place today at the Under-17 World Cup. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back at Sports Central. My name is Bladen. And nowhere, and we're ready for the big one. It has to do with football then. Football, here we go as usual. Let's begin a conversation from the world of football, talking about the Under-17 World Cup. That's where we're starting from. In recent times, we saw the Under-20 World Cup in the men's category. Morocco representing Africa going to the final. Here to talk about it in the way the final and get to know who wins it. But what has to do with women's Under-17 competition, preparation is stopped here. The opener of the game takes place today. We'll talk about it because let's start with the opener. Would be Morocco taking on Brazil for the opener of the Under-17 tournament. Well, to David, somehow, we talk about the improvement of Moroccan national team and what it has to do with Under-17. And we see the energy that's coming from that development. And now the women's game, opener of the tournament, Brazil taking on Morocco. What are we expecting in this one? Before we talk about it, further games in the Under-17 will take place tomorrow. It will be China against Norway Italy against Costa Rica, and Cameroon against the Netherlands, and tomorrow we'll have North Korea against Mexico, and Nigeria gets to play on Sunday.
Yeah.
A big game to talk about, Morocco, Brazil under 17.
I think, first of all, it is a clash of two contrasting fortunes. First of all, we're talking about Morocco. Yesterday, we were talking about them making the main team, that's the under-20 side, making it to the FIFA under-20 World Cup finals. We've actually seen the progress of Morocco, but I think to a large extent, I think the female aspect of their game is also yet to, get that click, get that momentum the men are getting. So I think this is another opportunity, especially for the women under 17 side, to showcase their strength, and of course also being able to set that level of dominance and development we've actually seen from Morocco in recent times. So it is a very, very good game, one to start off with. A very huge test for Brazil. Yesterday I also talked about Brazil because even at the World Cup qualifier stage of Brazil. Yesterday I also talked about Brazil because even at the World Cup qualifier stage of the senior team, they're actually struggling to gather up points in recent times, despite the quality of players scattered across that particular national team. And this has also in turn affected their junior cadre as well. The junior cadre of the Brazil national team in recent times haven't been doing well. And if you talk about the South American team, last time they played in the Men's World Cup, to the senior team, World Cup winners, Copa America winners, and the rest of them. So I think for Brazil, it is also another time to put their house in order. I try to also improve from what we've seen Brazil.
Now we can talk about African teams really doing well around 17 level.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about, maybe we start a conversation regarding African teams.
Yeah.
From a Nigerian point of view, as the Flamingos, Nigeria's women under 17 team called Flamingos, have finalized preparation ahead of that game against Canada. Well, I heard they were looking at final touches in the last training, and today we'll be looking at some of the press conferences that have to go on, every technical detail they have to get at the end of it. Well, when you see Nigeria, the last time out of this tournament, and Nigeria were absolutely fantastic, and one conversation was the very fact that the Flamingos got to the final of the not the one bronze here.
Yeah,
lost in the semi-finals, one bronze. So one that many would think they can even up and be better comparatively to last time out.
I think it's of course quite possible for Nigeria to at least make it to the final. First of all, they would better their performance last time out, and then we're also looking at the very fact that Nigeria, junior team haven't done quite well in recent times. Maybe we should look at the male team.
In the women's team.
In the women's team. Yeah, it has been quite a different case from the women's team.
That's where the struggle is.
Yeah, so I think the women's team have got more stability because the coach is not a new coach to the side. He's been there for some time at the moment. And of course, he's also had quality of time to pick the best legs for this particular tournament. So we shouldn't expect anything less from the ladies. However, football is also improving. We're also seeing other national teams, even at the junior cadre, also improving their football. So Nigeria shouldn't go there with the very fact that they've actually had some rich history in recent times. But they should also go there owing to the very fact that they have to improve from what we saw last time out. So I think for the female team, they have instability. So much is expected of the side. They have to finish top of that group at least and then qualify to the next phase. The finals of this competition won't be a bad, of course, one for the side.
All right, Richard David says I have to finish top of the group. Let's look at the group then. There's Group D for Nigeria, and then we're facing Canada. In that group, we have France and Samoa. I think it's an easy group. Canada, top side in recent times in women's football. One of the most improved countries you want to talk about in women's football is Canada, and we're talking about France. France definitely mainstay in women's football. Club sides are doing well. Paris Saint-Germain, Paris FC, and we're talking about Lyon Football Club.
Absolutely.
So you expect some pool of decent talent from there. Nigeria, well, you can't really talk about Nigerian women's league being at par with some of these biggest leagues, but they're all down in terms of talent. You think Nigeria just has it easy against Canada and France? No. Maybe against Samoa it could be a lot easier. Well,
maybe Samoa could actually be the whooping girl. So I'm looking at France, I'm looking at Nigeria, I'm looking at Canada. I think those are the three contenders to finish top. I think Nigeria stand a chance now because we're talking about age grade football, first of all. We're not looking at, of course, the quality of teams they're actually playing for, even at the junior team. A bulk of those players are college players, as a matter of fact. So maybe you could talk about exposure to better facilities, which could also in turn work in their favor. But I think Nigeria have also, gotten some level of experience. They started off, Canberra at the shells of a country, also being exposed to some quality
Yeah, good
facilities.
preparation.
Absolutely. So that could also count for Nigeria. And that's why I think they have a chance. Yes, it won't be an easy battle for them to top that group, but I think it's a possibility for them to get top.
Who you think gets to qualify amongst these two now? Amongst the three? Let's say we're looking at the top two in it.
Now, I'm looking at Nigeria first, maybe France or Canada fully second. I'm not sure about who finished second. Apart from being patriotic, if you look at the antecedent in recent times.
The question will be, when is the last time a Nigerian side, even at under 17, despite getting the final, finished top? In that group, they didn't finish top when they were second.
Absolutely.
The other time, they were part of the best losers.
Yeah.
That's what going for, I think, to the quarterfinals over before losing to I think they lost to Colombia. Where Colombia got to the final.
Yeah, that could also be questionable looking at the history in recent times for Nigeria.
It's not been easy in the group stage.
Not been easy, absolutely.
When there's a European country.
Absolutely. That's why I said it won't be easy for them. But I think there is every possibility they can finish if they actually bring their A game to the tournament.
Well, talking about those that bring their A game to tournaments, quite sadly, Patrick Kluivert, who's the coach of Indonesia, hasn't had his A game. There was speculation Indonesia will qualify for the 2026 World Cup, an expanded version of the World Cup, where Asian countries have played teams to feature in it, but it never happened for them. And we heard that Patrick Kluivert was sacked on Thursday. He just took over the job by January. Remember, similarly was shocked that he took over the job at a time when I think his predecessor was the name now. Shinty Young was sacked from that team, but it's a story now by mutual consent. It's what it is now. Patrick Kluivert not being part of the Indonesian national team. It comes especially, we're seeing the hammer on national team coaches at the moment. Patrick Kluivert, such a spotlight in it, fantastic footballer, but as a coach, we don't know if he's got the A game.
First question comes to mind now. I mean, if you look at that teams in that continent, I won't even regard Indonesia as one of the top teams.
Yeah, not at all.
So I wasn't even expecting them to, run the magic against with Justin Kluivert.
Being part of it. Jordan has
We've seen the UAE at the World Cup before. We've seen them at the World Cup.
Recall.
No, we've seen them at the World Cup. I've forgotten the year, but we've seen them at the World Cup.
Well, I followed 2002 World Cup, not seen them. 2006, I've not seen them.
We've seen Iraq.
Iran.
Yeah, Iran rather.
Top side, clearly.
Yeah, a top side.
So when you talk about top 5 sides in Asia,
Indonesia,
Iran, Australia,
absolutely.
South Korea, Japan. Who else now? Saudi Arabia.
So when you talk about Indonesia, I wonder whether or not, of course, Justin Kluivert was actually going there to qualify them for the World Cup.
Well,
looking at the quality of nations there.
Indonesia hadn't happened because they look at Jordan. Jordan is qualified. They said we could have qualified just like Jordan. Then look at United Arab Emirates, and probably he was paid humongous amount of money. I do not know the numbers anyway.
Maybe they should go back and, of course, and do some fundamental problems before they even hire a top coach, because even Jose Mourinho would get it even difficult to qualify Indonesia for the World Cup. Looking at the quality of nations at that particular confederation, it's very, very difficult, I must say.
Well, quite difficult for Mutima David. We still have the likes of Qatar also qualified for this World Cup. What was set to bounce, we hear that FIFA have sold over 1 million World Cup tickets in phase 1. Well, FIFA jobs such a big money,
absolutely.
A book spinning job money from all angles. Even the amount of money, the money they made, the revenue that came into the Club World Cup. So not to talk of the World Cup. During those qualifiers, has been humongous amount of money are being spent.
That's why a team who just placed the group stage of the World Cup even earns more than a team who wants the AFCON.
Absolutely.
So that's what it is.
For a team that wins the AFCON has about $7 million if you win the African Nations Cup. But if you feature in the World Cup, in the group stage of the World Cup, you earn a whooping $9 million. And that's the stark difference between the World Cup and FIFA and CAF. Well, levels day this thing. Well, we'll talk about as we close. We hear that England's Jordan Pickford extends Everton deal until 2029. Well, it's that conversation for him. A top goalkeeper by Everton standard, the Spanish Players Union are opposing La Liga, a game in Miami. It's been a conversation, but it seems like it's still going to happen. Realizing that Arnold has chance of facing Liverpool. We're going to see at a World Cup, but we just heard that Kylian Mbappe might not feature for them in the La Liga game against Getafe. Well, a big game to look forward to today would be Paris Saint-Germain against Strasbourg. Well, to have not much time to really dwell on it.
Absolutely.
But, well, I don't know which one it might look at as we set to close.
Well, I think it's about the UEFA Champions League. Real Madrid potential clash against Liverpool, and they were concerned about Trent Alexander-Arnold's fitness. And according to reports emerging late yesterday, it looks like the man could be fit in time to face his former club side in the Champions League.
And thank you to David. Always massive having you talking about sporting activities around the world and the world of football. Here we set to bounce. And well, I can only say I wish you a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And well, follow all the sporting activities taking place and be cool. And that's it.
Well, for me, all the best for Nigerian teams playing in the CAF Champions League. Difficult battle this weekend.
Yeah, difficult battle this weekend. We've really not talked about it.
Absolutely.
Well, but it's basically what it is. Remo Stars, Rivers United being a part of that make from a Nigerian contingent. But we bounce. Thank you for being a part of it. My name is Bladen Kim, and thank you for watching.